Facebook is up and YouTube too. It took a minute for YouTube, so I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But apparently we're good. I have a cat that's going crazy. And then one that's chilling. So maybe they'll stay, maybe they will not stay. I have my arms on my head at least on YouTube. Sorry. Hi, Jinx. Hey, buddy. Okay. Yes, it's time for you to call. Wait on. Are you staying? Music. No, Jinx, go. All right, go. Sorry. I'm distracted. Sorry. So this is one of those days that I'm just going to kind of go where the body goes, right? And if that's a little bit different for you today, then feel free to modify it and take it somewhere different, add a different variation of something, skip it entirely, sit in Shavasana, sit in Child's Pose, whatever it is that you need, right? Recognizing what the body needs at any moment is really, really important for your practice, for the benefit, right? If you're constantly doing something, and I'm guilty of this as well, I only do my favorite things. And, that's okay, but, you want to do the things that are challenging or the things that your body needs, right? Not just likes. So remember that, how do you want to phrase this? As long as you're not in pain, just because something is not comfortable is not a bad thing, right? If it's painful, it's bad, right? That's your body's sign that says say stop. But when something is just a little uncomfortable, see if you can sit with that, because it's probably something your body needs. All right, so just remember that as we go along. We're gonna start standing, obviously, here. Feet up underneath the hip bones, toes point forward. Go ahead and spread your toes. Imagine spreading the foot nice and wide. We'll do a little bit of balance today, so a wider foundation is better, or easier. Less challenging. I don't know, So imagine lifting your kneecaps up, turning the tailbone down just a little bit. You don't want to shove the pelvis forward, but you want to create a really nice long lower back. Lifting the pelvic floor, that lower belly comes in and up, kind of goes along with the pelvic tilt. Feel that? And then the side body is long, but that upper belly is soft. Relax your shoulders, close your eyes. You even think moving the bottom tips of your ears back a little bit. Find where the head is right over the shoulders and everything feels in this really long, plumb line. And then just be here for a moment and appreciate the fact that you can do what you can do. Whatever that might be. Bringing your awareness to your breath without changing it if you can. And then breathing out through the nose, let that breath expand. Finding that just beyond comfortable place, where I call it your yoga breath. And remember, if I'm cueing to inhale and you're not quite ready to inhale yet, wait until you are. Follow your breath. So we're going to start by, with the next inhale, simply lifting the arms up to the ceiling. Take your whole breath to get there. And then exhale and bring them back down. Let's go again. And then one more of those. Back to the top. Let's exhale just the right hand back toward the mat. And then give yourself a little tip. So the right hand is reaching for the floor, the left arm is coming up and over the ear without letting your shoulders hit your ear, kind of idea, right? Feel whether you still are even in your feet. And if you need to press into that left foot a little bit more, do. On an inhale, we're going to come back up to the top again, and then switch, taking the left hand down. Left hand reaching for the floor, that right arm up and over. Feeling the stretch up the right side. Staying even in your feet, lower belly's engaged. And then with the next inhale, come on back to the middle and release the arms. We're going to switch this one up. So inhale the arms. Cross your left foot over your right foot. Try to get that foot flat to the floor so you're nice and even on the four corners. And then the right hand back toward the mat, left arm up and over again. If it's a little wobbly here, look down at the floor. Or if it's not so much, you can look up at the ceiling or maybe even close your eyes. Inhale, come back up. Release the arms, release the feet. And we will go to the second side. So right foot, arms up, inhale. Right foot over the left. Get that foot flat to the floor. And then the left hand down. Reaching over. Changing your gaze if you need to. One more big breath. And bring it up to center. Release the feet and the arms. All right. So hands to the thighs here. Lean if you need to lean, of course. Exhale, come on over into a half fold. And then a bend in the knees. I'm going to roll the spine back up to standing. So exhale as you come forward. Bend in through the knees, round up through the spine. Inhale, back up. Take a few flows like that. And then come on over into that half fold and hold. Right, so you may or may not be parallel to the floor, whatever half-ish feels like for you, use it. Right? So then gently, we're going to see about working our way into this fold a little bit deeper. It's early, so take your time. Inhale where you are, and then exhale, tip in a little bit deeper. Inhaling to your halfway place again, and then exhaling to that fold a little deeper. So in and out like that, supporting on the thighs as much as you need. Slowly, take your time, finding whatever that full fold looks like. And when you found it, you're done, right? You can continue to come in and out or not, up to you. Holding in the deepest part of the fold once you're there. And again, leaning on the legs as much as you need to. Support yourself. The hands may come to the mat or they might not. Remember, we want to keep the spine nice and neutral and not worry so much about touching our toes. So from here, bend into the knees so you can get your fingertips to the floor, if you need to, of course, right? We're going to take the right hand kind of in the middle in front of the feet, and then take the left arm and sweep it up toward the ceiling. So probably the right knee is going to bend and your hips are going to shift. Feel it? It's fine for now. Release that side and move to the second side. And then release it. We're going to step ourselves back into the plank or kneeling plank. And then just holding, take a moment and notice where your body is, right? So the four corners of the hands are even on the mat. Wrists roughly underneath the shoulders. If that's a lot of pressure, make sure you adjust that. And whether your knees are on the floor or not, the pelvis doesn't sag and it doesn't stick up in the air, right? This is a little easier, this is a little easier, but neither of them are right, right? So really work the belly as much as you're working your arms, chest, shoulders. If they're not already, take your knees to the floor. We're gonna take let's take the right foot over to the right and open up to the left. So you're on the left hand, left knee, and the right foot's at the back of your mat. Wrong. You're on your right hand, right knee, with the left foot at the back of the mat, down. So this left arm can reach up toward the ceiling. You can take it up and over the ear. Maybe lift your hips a little bit, get a bigger side stretch. And then come on back up to center. We're going to move to the second side. So this time, the left foot out to the left, and you're on your left hand, left knee with the right foot at the back of the mat. And again here, whatever little pieces you add in, you can maybe lift the right foot even. Listen to your body, make sure you're breathing. And then we're going to come on back to the center again. So go ahead and knees sit back if they're not, sitting back into child's pose. We're going to bump that up a little bit, or not. Remember, you can stay on the knees if that's where you're at. Otherwise, to full plank. If you're on your knees, you know how to do it, right? The right foot goes out to the right. Otherwise, drop your heels over to the right. You can stack your feet. You can have one on top of the other. The left hand can come to the hip. It can extend toward the ceiling. Make sure your belly's working, you're breathing. Your right hand is happy. And then release back to your full plank. Or kneeling. And switch to the second side. So the heels simply drop over to the left. Keeping the hips in line, just like we worried about the pelvis sagging, a lot of times the hips will start to sag. Moving back to plank. And then dropping down to the knees and sitting back in your child's pose again. All right, so from your child's pose here, go ahead and come up onto forearms and knees. We want to tuck the elbows in to bring them up underneath the shoulders, and taking the hands to the outside edges of the elbows, outside, not just inside here, will typically bring them right up underneath the shoulders. You may have to adjust a little bit, and that's fine. Do what you're gonna do there. And you can have the arms out in Sphinx, which means the arms are parallel to each other. There's a straight line from your middle finger all the way back through your elbow. If that's manageable, great. If not, then release the fingers out front. And then just super simple, imagine hugging the arms in toward each other and pressing them down into the floor. Feel your belly. Yeah. From here, inhaling or exhaling, it doesn't matter. Bring your chin toward your thumbs, and then reverse that and kind of push back again, sitting back. And you can take a big range of movement here, all the way forward and all the way back. Do just a couple more. And yes, you can do this without your knees on the floor, but it's early. So just getting the motion, the range of motion is the thing right now. Once you're back, go ahead and sit all the way back. You can release your hands. You can take your hands back by your heels if that feels good. Just kind of undoing what we just did. So this one here, we're going to move into more of a kneeling plank. So instead of being in this tabletop position, we're going to walk the knees back or the elbows forward. Walk the knees back. So that we are now in a kneeling forearm plank. So kneeling forearm is a little weird, right? And if that's where you need to stay, that's where you need to stay. It's totally fine. Just think about the front of your head to your knees being in that nice long line. So the pelvis is engaged, right? We don't want to hang because then it's like nothing, right? It's easy to sort of sit the hips back into that awkward position as well. So whether you have your hands out in Sphinx or you have your fingers interlaced, either way, stay on your knees if that's you, or maybe lift your knees away from the floor and just hold this forearm plank. Your belly has to work like crazy here to protect that lower back. So if it ain't happening, it ain't happening, right? The knees on the floor are totally fine. Whatever you got, release down to the floor and sit back in your child's pose again. If they're not already, stretch your arms out nice and long in front. Ground the four corners of the hands, and this time we're going to lift up into down dog. We're not quite done with our planks yet, but we're going to give it a little bit of a break for a second anyway. Wiggling, stretching, adjusting your hands and feet. Remember that the hands are shoulder width apart, the feet are hip bone distance apart, and the hands and feet are the body length from one another. Yeah. So settling into your down dog, sink the heels, press the chest back. Let your head hang. And then now we're going to add in inhaling, shifting forward into plank. And then exhaling, take it back into your down dog. So just forward and back like that. And you can absolutely do this on your knees. Kneeling plank and child's pose-ish. Once more, forward and back. Once you're back in your down dog, drop down to your knees. Take that little break in child's pose again. Let's come back to child's pose, or to down dog. Lifting the right leg. Step or swing that foot through to the hands. Use some momentum, sometimes it'll work a little bit better. Either way, drop the back knee and wiggle your toes up until your knee and ankle stack. Yeah. And then from here, let's take that right leg straight-ish. And then bend back into the knee and sink into the heel, put off the hips. Imagine pulling the legs together, feeling the alignment of your pelvis. Climb up on the thigh here, lifting the upper body. Lean if you need to lean. Keep sinking the hips low as much as you can. You can extend the arms toward the ceiling if you like. And then release it. So you can do that same sequence again with the left knee on the floor, or lift the left knee away from the floor. Take the right leg straight again. If you have blocks, feel free to prop your upper body. You can even use your shin or maybe your thigh. It is a little tricky for the balance. So, do what you gotta do here. If the back knee needs to be down, it needs to be down. Right? Bending into the knee, full lunge here, or knee down variation if you need. I'm gonna climb up on the thigh and lift the upper body. Lean if you need. Keep sinking through that back heel. Maybe lift the arms. Yeah. 1. Release what you got. And we're gonna make our way back to down dog. Keep. All right, so moving to the second side. Step the left foot up. Drop the back knee. And then wiggle until you have that knee ankle alignment. When you are ready, leg straight-ish. And then bend into the knee. Keep the hips nice and square, it helps with the balance. Climbing up on the thigh. Leaning on the leg for support if you need to, extending the arms if you like. And then releasing that. Stick with the knee down variation if that's you. Otherwise, lift the right knee and take the left leg straight again. Modifying as you need to. All right, you decide you're bending into the knee. Right knee on the floor or not. Either way, we lift the upper body. And maybe we lift the arms. Release that. Step forward into standing fold. And then let yourself hang out here. So maybe bending into the knees, grabbing opposite elbow. Go ahead and step your feet, I don't know, just wider than your shoulders, say, to begin. Toes point forward. We're going to take the hands and walk them around toward the right foot. And just like with that twist initially earlier, when we sort of, leaned into it, lean into it. Come over back through the middle, over to the left. And then come on back to the middle. Take your feet a step wider. Or half a step, maybe only 1 foot goes a step wider. Right? Listen to your body. So the toes are still going to point forward. We want to press down into the 4 corners like we did when we first stood. Take the hands over to the right again.
So this time, if you lean, shift back to the middle. Right, so the feet stay nice and even, the pelvis is going to stay level. And the stretch is just different. Take it to the middle and over to the left. Same idea. Trying to stay centered with your body weight. What are you doing? No. And then coming back to the middle again. Take the feet one step wider. Half a step or 1 foot, you get the idea, right? So here, bending into the knees if you need, take the index and middle fingers and wrap them around the big toes. Still even on the four corners of the feet. Legs are straight if you can make them straight. Elbows are bent out to the sides either way. And then maybe a little pull on the toes if you need it. And then release your toes. If you still have one more step to give, or a half step, take those feet just a little bit wider. This time, fingers are going to interlace behind the lower back. Pulling the shoulder blades together on the back, stretch the knuckles away from the shoulders. So you'll find some space. And if the hands lift up off the lower back, let them. Try to keep a soft bend into the elbows though. It's easy to just hyperextend at the elbow. And then it feels like it's deeper, but it's not really. Releasing the arms. Walk the hands over to the right foot. No, because you're in the middle of the mat right now. Walk your feet back in. Bring them up underneath your hip bones here. Sometimes I forget when I turn. So feet are up underneath the hip bones again here. We're going to bend into the knees, and with an inhale, roll up through your spine all the way to standing. All right? So from the top of the mat, go ahead and step the left foot back for warrior one. So not a big giant step, right? The feet are as if they were on like railroad tracks, not as wide, of course, unless you need that, right? The back heel is going to stay on the floor, and we're going to bend into this right knee. So you might need to adjust your feet, maybe a little wider sideways, maybe a little wider forward and back. The pelvis is square. We're going to press through that left heel, get that nice stretch. And then you decide what to do with your arms here. You can interlace behind your back again if you like that. You can extend toward the ceiling. Maybe take a little back bend here. You know, play with that. So here, we're going to let's go ahead and bring the hands to the right thigh. And you can lean as much as you need to lean here because we're going to go into a balance. Come up on your back toes and start leaning forward all the way into this right foot and see about lifting the left away from the floor. Ideally here, the right leg is straight, the upper body and left leg are parallel to the floor. The hands can stay on the thigh, they can drop to the floor if you need them, or they fly. Wherever, back, forward, sides, whatever. Go ahead and take those hands to the floor if they're not ready. And the right hand can be wherever you need it to be. So if it moves, it's totally fine. Open up the left hip as if you were going to stack it on top of the right. It might not stack, don't panic about that, but that's kind of the direction. And then maybe you don't need the left hand on the floor. And your shoulders can stack-ish. Close it back up. Drop the left foot. And we're going to roll up through the spine again. Back to standing. All right, so you get the idea. We're going to take the same thing to the second side. Stepping the right foot back. And again, adjusting here. Take your time finding where the feet need to be, especially as you start to bend into this left knee. Right heel's on the mat, hips are nice and square, the belly's engaged, and then the arms do what the arms do. Moving into our warrior three. So if you can just tip over into it, go ahead. But otherwise, maybe supporting on the thigh here as you come up on the back toes, leaning all the way to the left. Keeping the body parallel to or facing the floor. Right? So if this right hip pops up a little bit, bring it down. Imagine pushing up and out of your left hip. That way you never feel jammed up there. The arms do what the arms do. Feeling that wide left foot. Left hand to the floor, maybe both need to be on the mat. Otherwise, the right hand can come to the hip and open that right hip on top of the left. Open the right shoulder on top of the left. Maybe you're looking up, maybe your right hand is extended toward the ceiling, and maybe none of those things. You're still breathing, right? Closing back up. Releasing the right foot down. And then rolling on up, back to standing. So sometimes those standing balances with your head in a different place are more challenging because your brain just isn't used to that, right? It is used to being upright, your brain. Your brain's used to your head being upright. You get it, right? So let's take a little standing balance here, just in case we need a little prop. Little cats. So off your mat, near a wall, whatever it is that you need, if you have a chair even that you want to step next to, fine. Take all the weight over into your right foot. Lift your left leg. Open the knee and watch where your hips start to go all crazy, right? Find the place right before that. Bring this left leg in. And you want to avoid being on your knee joint. And I've seen where they say it's totally fine to have your foot on your knee unless you squeeze in. And if you're putting pressure on the inside of the knee, pushing it to the right, it seems bad, right? So if you're just resting it there, it's fine. But if you add that extra pulling the legs together thing, avoid being on the knee. So tuck the tailbone, stand up nice and tall. Maybe the hands to center, sorry, I'm getting froggy. Extend the arms if that's you. Maybe open at the top, maybe look up, maybe sway your branches in the breeze, whatever. Adding in what makes it challenging. And then think about that really wide right foot. Let's release that. Let's shift to the second side. So weight to the left, lifting the right, opening at the knee, watching where the pelvis is. The pelvis gets all crazy and it's harder to be stable, right? So finding where the right foot needs to go, hugging the legs toward each other, really activate the lower body. That will help your pelvis stay level as well.
a little tuck of the tailbone, your belly's working, the arms do what the arms do. And maybe it's the same on this side and maybe not. And then we're gently going to release what we got here. Come back to the top of the mat if you did step away. Inhale, lift the arms up. And then exhale, take yourself over into a fold. Just like we did earlier, let yourself hang. So just nice and loose and relaxed. Rounding through the spine, letting your head relax. Maybe shaking your head, yes and no. And then we're going to step back into our down dog.
Down into child pose. So we're going to add into the shoulders. So like where we started earlier, and if that was challenging for your shoulders or for your belly or whatever, right? Then stay with the knees down variation. It's totally fine. It's the same thing. It's just less pressure. Okay. So we're going to come up onto forearms and knees. I prefer here to have my fingers interlaced out front. You decide what's right for you. Elbows are tucked up underneath those shoulders. Pressing down into the floor. Imagine pulling your arms together. That lower belly kicks in right with that, yeah? And then on the knees or not, chin toward the thumbs and back. So in and out like that. And maybe you do a couple off the knees and maybe you do a couple on the knees. Or maybe you're on the knees, but you want to do one on the off the knees, right? Breathing. One more time, forward and back. And then come on down and rest. So we're going to add one more, well, I'm going to add a couple more variations, but we're only going to go one more round. So again, on the knees, forward and back, simply on the knees, maybe simply off the knees, maybe holding in that position, maybe coming back and forth, or maybe. So you decide where you are at this stage of the game, right? Elbows up underneath, arms out in that sphinx or interlaced out front. We push down, we pull together here. If you're going for it, lifting the knees away from the floor, pressing the chest back toward the thighs, right? So we came forward with the upper body. This time, we're going to keep the upper body where it is and come forward with the lower body, maybe, right? So you decide all of these places along the path. See about walking your toes closer to your elbows. And then back. Inhale. And if it sounds like a good time and you're feeling pretty good about this whole thing, head as far away from the floor, yeah? What about lifting the right leg? Release that side and lift the left. Releasing that side. So forward and back, holding on the knees, wherever you need to be, And then coming down and resting when you need to rest. If you're not already down in child's pose, go ahead and drop in. From child's pose, we're going to sit up on the heels.
So if this is a no-go, just come to your bottom. You can always prop up on a block, make it a little bit more accessible. You can sit between your feet if that's where you're at. We're just here to stretch our shoulders, so that part doesn't matter as much. So from here, take the right arm out, and then bend the elbow, fingers pointing toward the ceiling. 90-degree bend here, yeah. Bring that arm in front, and then take your left arm underneath, between your right arm and face, and catch your fingers, maybe. You can align your palms, more power to you. If you're happy just to catch a finger, that's great too. So try to keep your shoulders relaxed. Adjust your hands further or closer to your face, further from or closer to your face. And find where that spot is for you. If you want to lift your elbows a little bit, that'll add some sensation. Just find where you got a nice stretch here. Releasing the arms, roll around a little bit. And then switch, taking the left arm out, bending the elbow, bringing it in front. Right arm underneath the left. Fingers catch. And it could be really different on this side than the first, normal. And again, you can just adjust where your hands are, adjust where your elbows are to find the sensation that your shoulders need. And then release that side. Roll around a little bit. Let's go ahead and bring the legs around the front. Legs in straight, feet flexed with the toes pointing at the ceiling as if you were standing on your legs. Yeah. Making sure you feel upright on your pelvis. Let's lift the arms, and we're going to fold forward. Remember to let your hands fall where they fall. Keeping the shoulders back. Sometimes the elbows out helps, just like it does when we fold other places. With an inhale, come on back up again. Release the arms. Let's take the feet flat to the floor. Find some place where you can roll back. And then hang on behind the thighs here, lift your chest. So already we probably feel some sensation. Right? Try to use your lower belly here. So you're not taking the toes away from the floor. If that's all good, maybe the shins parallel to the floor. And maybe let go, right? Maybe the legs are straight, maybe you're hanging on for dear life. Find where it's work. Again, focusing on that lower belly. Bring the soles of the feet together. Hang on to your ankles. And then see curve through your spine and roll down. Keep the soles of the feet together and let them come to the floor. Relax the lower belly, the knees, and your hip. And if you're ever uncomfortable here, you can take a blanket or a block or something and prop up, right? So you can rest into it. Otherwise, sometimes we tend to to squeeze, right? To hold, to protect, right? To hold ourselves in this place. And we ideally want to let go a little bit. Well, ideally we want to let go. So let's bring those knees together. Feet flat to the floor. Pretty close to your hips, not quite touching. That's typically a little too close. You may need to adjust it as we lift, right? Bring your arms really tight down the sides of your body. I like to bend my elbows because then I can get my elbows in a little closer. So head and neck stay comfortable. Press down into your triceps and feel how the backs of your arms and across your shoulders become more of the foundation than your back. You should feel that already here. Pull the feet toward the hips and lift the hips up off the floor. This is good. If you want more, take those fingers and releasing behind the lower back. And then we want to press down, tuck the elbows up under, so now you feel less of your back on the floor. The weight is on the triceps and the tops of your shoulders. No, not the tops, the backs of your shoulders. And the legs still have that pulling in sensation rather than pushing away. Take another big breath. And then release what you got here. Laying flat for just a moment. And then we'll have the knees into the chest. Rocking up and down, side to side. Taking the feet flat to the floor again. Go ahead and open your arms out into a T position. And whatever variation of twist you want today, go ahead and take it. We haven't done a ton of it. So you decide whether you need to shift your hips or you just want to let your legs fall. Whether the legs need to be straight, maybe just one. Maybe you like to cross your knees, any of the things. And then coming back to center. Switch to your second side. Whatever variation you did over there, do over here as well. And you can always change it up, but start in the same direction. And then we're going to go ahead and bring it back to center again. Draw the knees back into the chest. And this time, give yourself a squeeze. Draw it in nice and tight. Pull your forehead in, give yourself a hug. And then release into a full body stretch. And then release your stretch and find your way to Shavasana. So fully extended, feet flat, legs up the wall, seated meditation, whatever it is going to be today. And take a moment to see where your body wants to be. We get into routines where we always do the same. See if you can just be present enough in this moment to see if that's really what you need. Because sometimes it ain't. And then just allow yourself to be fully present there. Resting body and mind for just a few minutes. Remember, you can stay in Shavasana as long as you like, if and when you're ready. Begin to wiggle your fingers, stretch your arms and legs. Maybe take another full body stretch if that sounds good. Keeping your eyes closed and your mind quiet as you slowly bring yourself back up to a seated position. Sitting well. Bring the palms to touch at center. Bowing your head to the light within. Namaste. Yay, yoga. So thanks for practicing with me, you guys. Have a good weekend. And like I said, I will not be here next weekend. Well, I won't be live next weekend. But over on the YouTube channel, since Facebook won't let me hold anything for more than 30 days, I think, over on the YouTube channel, I'll put a link in the notes. You can find when I first started doing this. I don't even know how many years ago that was, but those classes are there. There are some that are shorter, there are some that are longer. So anytime you need a class, that's the whole premise behind Any Day Yoga. that's it. So I hope you enjoyed that. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend, Ty.